Welcome to episode 9 of Built For Us, the podcast for construction workers by construction workers. My name's Steve Kirby, and tonight I'm going to be speaking to the legend that is Mr. Jimmy Gorry. How are we doing, Jimmy?
Hi, Steve. It's my first time to do this, so thank you for the invite, and hopefully I can contribute something similar to you that we can highlight the importance of mental health in the construction industry and actually throughout every other industry as well. And it's good to see you, Steve. I know we talk regularly, but it's good to see you.
No, it's great to have this chat with you and for it to be on the podcast. So one thing that I think we are going to talk about is mental health, especially like men's mental health. This month, obviously, it's November, so it's Movember. Now, not something I normally get involved with. I don't grow a big moustache and turn the ends or anything like that, but there is a lot done charity-wise in Movember towards men's mental health, and I thought I'd get your thoughts on that. And I see you've got a cool little trendy tash. What?
Yeah, I have always had a moustache, and I know about this Movember thing, and I see a lot of the lads doing it. And yeah, it's good, and it's some fun as well, and lads really buy into it. But if there's charities out there, obviously, that can support and help men with mental health, and they need a few bob in the kitty, well, go for it. Like I would, yeah. But I don't really get it myself. But it's been around for a while now, I think, and yeah, only for us we're speaking about it now, it wouldn't even register in my head about it, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, I think for me, and I say it on a lot of my own personal posts and stuff like that, but for me, mental health awareness is every day. And we have Movember, we have Mental Health Awareness Week, we have Men's Mental Health Day, we have all these days throughout the year, which I think is a good thing in a sense, because it gives, especially organisations and these companies, a time to focus on it and put a little bit more into it. But for me, it's like mental health and safety. It's important every day. So yeah, what's your take on it? What's
absolutely your... I mean, if you have a positive mental health, as I have, and I've developed it, and I always had it, and when I get the opportunity to speak to guys out there, you don't really know. Well, sometimes you can read your audience. Maybe some lads maybe struggling with it, or when you're speaking about it or whatever. But I think the more it's spoken about in a positive direction, right? And then really what you're doing is you're reaching out to help people, aren't you? Right. So when you get the floor, or when you get when you get the lead of the room, then I don't do that much so with mental health. I just do it at the end of my presentation. Right. And, but thankfully, I have never had a problem with my mental health. Right. As of today, hopefully I'll be the same tomorrow. Now, I did get counseling, by the way, post my accident. I did see a counselor, and actually I spoke to one guy post my accident. You wouldn't know who he is, but anyone from Ireland looking at this that know it, Matt Connor was his name, or is his name. He was a brilliant GAA footballer, and he had an accident. He's paralyzed as well, right? And I spoke to him post being discharged from the hospital. And I said, what happens now, Matt? Where do I go with this in my head? And he said, Jimmy, I'll tell you. And I thought, right, there's only one man going to help you, the man in the wheelchair. Have you got that? Yeah, good luck. And that was it. So basically what he was saying is, you paddle your own boat, you push your own wheelchair, and you push yourself. And I picked up on that straight away, which was some advice, but it was just simple words. And I think if you were talking about mental health, I think simple words are best, Steve. Would you not think so?
Yeah, 100%. And again, anyone who knows me, my story, before my accident, I didn't believe in mental health. I had no sympathy towards anybody who was struggling with depression or anything like that. If someone said to me that was depressed and needed time off work, I would be like, oh man, get on with it, deal with it. It's all in your head. But I'd never gone through anything myself, so I didn't understand mental health as such. Whereas being on the journey that I've been on, and I think for me, a massive part of my journey, like you've just said, was going through therapy. I never dreamed I'd need to see a counsellor, but I went and saw a therapist, and she put me on a completely different path. She educated me slightly on mental health, and how we need to look after our mental health. And then I've just gone on to study ever since. And I've done that for the last 14 years. But like you, I have a very positive mindset. And what I still understand though is if I don't look after my mental health, then tomorrow might be a different day. And it's reaching out when we are struggling with our mental health. It's having the confidence to talk and explain to somebody you're not doing well today. Do you know what I mean? If you're having more than one bad day and you're just telling yourself you're dealing with it, you're not dealing with it if you're not talking about it. And I think me speaking to you for the amount of time we've spoken now, like we've known each other a while, as I've said to you, you're one of the most resilient guys I know. You've got such a positive mindset. And for me, you're an inspiration. And how do you keep that positive mindset? Like, it's Movember, it's Men's Health Month. So give a couple of tips on how you stay so positive to all the guys that are listening.
Well, when I wake up every morning, right, I do think for about 5 seconds. Jimmy, yeah, you're still paralyzed, right? There's nothing you can do about it. And I've learned to take ownership of my disability, right? It's mine. You can't give it away. You can't give it back. So it's yours. So if you don't take ownership of it and go, you will be struggling with it. And being honest, as of today, I never really struggled with it because when I got into speaking, it was about 14 months post my life-changing accident. So I suppose that was my window of opportunity. And when I done my first talk, if I can't remember what I said, but John Carroll was the guy that got me in. And what he said to me was, Jimmy, you could be good at this. And I said, no, John, I won't be good at it. I will be the best. So I re-educated myself. I retrained myself. I got it wrong. I got it right. I made a mess of it. But I do know when I get the stage, when I get on it, I don't want control of the room or my audience. I get the lead of my room. And that gives me back. None of you would probably ever understand that until you have a life-changing accident similar to myself and Steve. It gives me back my independence for 40 minutes or whatever. So if I speak about it and I can make a difference, it's good for me mentally because now I can achieve and that is I suppose that's the way I deal with it.
Yeah, that's your therapy now. It's
Yeah.
going through it, and it's similar for me. Like when I first started sharing my story, God, it's like nearly 7 years ago now. I was a nervous wreck. Like looking back at them first year especially, even though it's a powerful story, my delivery was probably dreadful. But every time I've done it and more people have come forward, more guys have come forward and said, thank you, I needed that. Or you've made me realize I can talk about my mental health. Every time that happens, it makes it worthwhile for me. So I believe everything happens for a reason. And I wouldn't be doing what I'm now doing if I hadn't gone through that. And I think for people who are struggling or were listening, who's going through a really, really dark time at the minute, as you have, as I have, as many have, if you're going through a really dark time, just understand that you are going to come out of this a stronger person, and you are who you are because of what we go through, and we take lessons from it. And I think you've done that massively, Jimmy, like knowing your story and what happened and where you've come from, what you've gone through over the last couple of years. I mean, you spent, it's like 22 months in a hospital bed, just about.
Still there behind me.
But like with your sores and stuff.
You see it there, yeah?
Yeah, but again, it's one of them, innit? It's every morning we wake up, we can either stay in bed and feel sorry for ourselves, or we can get up and we can face the world head on and understand that what we're going through for a reason, and we learn from it. We take lessons from it.
Yeah, and when it comes to mental health, it's the same thing because when I speak about working safe, obviously on a daily basis, there's one word I use: choice. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't choose I didn't choose to end up similar to the way I was. I fell off a building. I just made the wrong call, but I didn't think what I was doing was unsafe. So it just goes to show you your mindset, right? And if I didn't have my life-changing accident, would I still do the work the way I was doing it the same? Yes, I would, right? But it's easy to say that now. But hindsight is not safety, right? And the same thing comes to mental health. It's the choices you make. Now, there's a massive difference. Actually, there's no comparison, and I'll ask you this, Steve. There's no comparison with mental illness and, positive mindset. Like, a mental illness, you're on medication or you're seeing counselors or whatever. That's totally, but I don't know where that is. I don't understand all that. I have massive support and understanding of it for anyone that's going through that. And maybe there will be people there going through that, but I'm not one of them and you're not one of them, because I think when we do what we're doing now, we speak about our challenges. Like I'm mentally challenged. I'm physically challenged. Like I have 2 forms of cancer, right? I'm okay. It's manageable. I have my right leg amputated, right? I got sepsis. I had 2 hours to live at one stage. I made it. I got MRSA, right? Then I got 2 pressure sores on my bum and they're just healed. So I am fully convinced that I was put on this earth to be challenged. They said, right, give this shit to Jimmy, see how he gets on with it, right? And here I am. I'm still getting on with it, right? And yeah, I'm good today and I hope I'm equally better tomorrow. Because if you have a good day today, you get your tomorrows. Right? But it's amazing about, I don't know about you, but you do. You've told me that. Post my delivery of my message stroke story, right? I talk about positive mental health, right? And then not saying an awful lot, but a few people come up to me and they ask me, are you on medication? Or are you getting counseling? And I said, no, but you are, because you can read them, right? And it's amazing the amount of people that opened up to you when you talk about it. So I think that's the plus for us. Would you agree?
100%, yeah. And it's like when I was going through my mental health battles, and that's there's a difference between mentally ill and looking at being mental health. So you can have good days and bad days, or you can be mentally ill. And I got to the point where I was suicidal. I didn't want to be no more. I was drinking every single day to just block everything out. I truly believe that my family would be better off if I wasn't here no more. And that's when I became mentally ill. And that voice in my head, I thought it was somebody else's voice. I was hearing voices like telling me I shouldn't be here. But I was offered antidepressants by my therapist at the time, but because of the stigma around them, I refused to take them. And thankfully I got through it, and I went on to study the mind myself and study mental health and depression and anxiety and addiction. And I got through my trauma without antidepressants. But many people do need it. And I promote, like a lot of my clients when I'm coaching, first thing I'll get them to do is go and see a doctor. You know what I mean? Because you might need medication. And because of the stigma, a lot of people are against medication. And again, for anybody listening, if every day is a bad day, then go and see your doctor, ask to get your thyroid checked, your bloods checked, and then look at maybe if you need antidepressants. But yeah, it's Men's Mental Health Month. It's Movember. So hopefully people listening to this, we can trigger somebody into reaching out and getting the support that they need. And me as a coach as well, anyone listening, I'm not plugging myself here, but SKLifeCoachUK, drop me a message and I can offer any support I can. So, but Jimmy, with yourself, have you ever been on antidepressants or anything?
Yeah,
early. You are
initially, yes, right. And then I saw, when I was in the rehabilitation hospital for nearly 7 months, I regularly saw a psychologist, right? And it was a lady psychologist, right? And she was always on to me, and she said, what's it? I remember Maeve Nolan, she was a lovely woman, and she was always on about, your mental health, and then she'd ask you, Do you remember your name? Do you remember your address? How are you doing? Whatever. And I said to her, Maeve, I said, Maeve, I have a question for you. I said, you're the senior psychologist here in the rehabilitation hospital in Ireland. There's only one rehabilitation hospital in Ireland. She said, yes. And all your team then, which is nearly 19 years ago, nearly 20, yeah. I said, you're all female. Yeah. No, I said, I'm not sexist, right? I said, why is that? And she said, men didn't come into it then. They don't take up that position. Right? I said, I don't know, Maeve. I said, right, I don't think I need any more, right? Because you're telling me, right, that you have to think about it every day and whatever, but I can't change it by thinking about it. So if I move, if I get an opportunity to get out of here, maybe it'll improve, right? So I said, you have 3 more sessions to do, she said to me. And I said, why is that? She said, they're the rules. But I said, they're not my rules. I said, I don't need, with all due respect to you, to listen to you or your colleagues, please. Do you know what she said to me? You don't need any more psychology. You have it sorted. 2 weeks later, she comes back to me. I wasn't being sister. I was going to be discharged a couple of weeks after. She said, Jimmy, I have a question for you. I thought, what is the question? Would you be interested in talking to new people that are after coming in here? They're ended up paralyzed and they're not in a good place. I told you know what I told her. Well, I said, are you for real, Maeve? Me talking to them? No, I said, I'm just trying to deal with it myself. And that was kind of the first thing about a lot of people in the rehab that were struggling with. Actually, well, I don't struggle with it. I've accepted it. So I suppose, I don't know why that is. It's just me, like, you know what I mean? So I don't do counseling now, and I definitely don't take medication. And I gave up drinking beer when I was 38, 39, right? Beer was fine. I was fine. Put the two together, not so fine. So,
Yeah.
and then everyone thought I'd go back on the beer. No. By saying to me, you'll go back on the beer, that was my incentive. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Not going to come back.
Never too often.
Yeah, and I never did. No, if I met you tomorrow, Steve, whatever, I'd have a bit of dinner with you. I'd have maybe one glass of wine, right? So I'm not anti-drinking. I am anti-smoking and drugs or whatever, right? But I think if you've developed, I think by doing what we do and speaking, I maintain a positive mindset. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I gave up drink almost 4 years ago. Well, it'll be 4 years in March. And for me, that was the best thing I've ever done. One of the best things, because for me, looking back, even when I was in a good place, I'd drink all weekend, like Friday after work, Saturday watching the football, Saturday night, Sunday I'd feel a bit crap, so I'd have another couple of beers to make myself feel better again. And then I'd have an hangover until like Wednesday, start feeling a bit normal again. And then it'd come round again. But looking back, even when I was in a good place, I was a lot more negative and a lot lower when I was drinking. And people, a lot of my friends and family now can't believe that I don't drink, because I've always been a big drinker from being probably about 15 years of age. But for me, again, when it comes to mental health awareness, mental health month, if somebody is struggling with the mental health, then the best thing they can do for me is stay away from alcohol, because it is a depressant. And a lot of my clients will say, "Oh, I can't give up the drink. I live for the weekend." But then they will, and they try it, and they'll say, "Oh, I'll go a month," and I've got quite a few friends and people I've worked with now who'll give up alcohol for good, and they don't reckon they'll ever touch it again, like myself. Now, again, I'm not anti-alcohol, and I still go out on a Saturday night. I just enjoy a Pepsi instead of a beer. But alcohol, drugs, if people are having, especially if your mental health is in a good place, and like when I was going through after my accident, I drank to block everything out. And if somebody's listening to this and they're drinking every night to block the life out, then for me, you need to reach out. You need to speak to somebody, because it just, you end up in deeper in that big dark hole. That's how I see it, and you've got to get that help and support. But yeah, I never realised you weren't a drinker. I've seen pictures of you in the pub and stuff, and I thought you enjoyed it.
I know, I still go. I'd be the first in and the last out, right? And I'd stir the ship when I'm in there as well, no problem.
Yeah,
right?
I'm the same.
Yeah, but now, but you know what I've learned, and I learned this. You're looking at people and they're stupid drunk. They become different people, right? But when I go, now we go every October weekend, 55 of us, 60 of us from the football club. It's a social club. Everyone drinks except me, right? And everyone knows I don't drink. And then some of the wives or the girlfriends come up to, hey, Jimmy, yeah, did you see whatever Tom or her husband? Who was he chatting to? I don't know. I don't care. Whatever he does, right? Why don't you ask me that when you're sober? Right? They won't ask you the questions, right? So I just learned when you're not drinking and you're in company, you know what I've learned to do? And I'm a keynote speaker. I've learned, believe it or not, to shut up. Right?
Yeah, stay quiet.
Stay quiet. But just, you're after reminding me something. This time 2 years ago, I was admitted to St. James's Hospital, which is a big hospital up in Dublin. I had 2 pressure sores in my bum, and they told me they may never heal. You have a long, long road to go, right? And I was in there, and they didn't want me in there, right? The doctor said, we don't want you in here. And I said, why is that? Because there's nothing we can do for you. Well, I said, I'm here now. So I said, did you get my files by email? Yeah, but she said, we can't find them. Oh, that's okay. I have a hard copy, I said. She said, where's the hard copy? You're not getting it anyway, right? Because you said you're not going to help me. So I go to the next lad, and I have the white band on my wrist. I'm in. I said, you'll have some job getting me out of here to get started. But I was in that hospital, and I got every infection going. You name it. I had a PIC line in so they could get the antibiotics straight. I think they invented new antibiotics at such bad infections. I was in a hospital bed in isolation. I lost 3 stone weight. No eating, no drinking, nothing. And the doctor told me, you're going to be so sick. You're a lucky man, you're paralyzed. Imagine saying that to me. You are a lucky man, you are paralyzed, because you would not stick to plane. I was after having 12 operations. And he said, how do you manage to maintain such a positive mindset? Actually, all the doctors in here, do you know what they call you? And I said, no, what did they call me? The man that won't take no for an answer. I said, no, you're here because I'm here. You're going to look after me, because if I'm not in here, you have no job, right? So that's it. And he said, how do you manage to have a positive mindset? Well, I said, I haven't eaten or drinking, and you're losing 3 stone weight. And I'm in that bed, and at night time, I'm hanging over the side of it, and I'm trying to get sick. Nothing comes up. You know what I say to myself? Tomorrow will be a better day. And I got my tomorrows. And he said, is it as simple as that? Well, for me it is, but maybe not for other people. That's the way I deal with it. And that's the thing about mental health, Steve. Everyone has a different perception of it, haven't they? A different way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
You're not on a medication. I'm not on medication. But that's just 2 lads here now that have mental health challenges every minute of every day. Right?
Yeah. And like I said, for me, mental health is it's like physical health. It's important. If we don't look after it, I know you're in a wheelchair, but you still work out. You've got your gym routine. I still manage to go to the gym. If we've got to look after our mental health in the same way we do our physical health. And again, a lot of people don't understand that, and they just hear the word mental health. Like my mum hates the word mental health, because back when she was younger, if you had mental illness, you got sectioned. It straight away. There was no questions. It was you mental.
Well, yeah.
So
you shade or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So the word mental health for a lot of people is scary, whereas it's not. It's just your mindset. It's your brain. It's we need to look after it in order for you to be in a good place. You look after your mental health, and it doesn't happen. You don't get your positive mindset overnight. You've got to work on yourself daily, and then you start seeing the positives each morning, rather than waking up like you've just said. everything that life has thrown at you, you could lay in that bed and refuse to get out and say, well, why me? You know, like, but you don't. You choose to get up and go and face the world. And for me, there's a lot of people listening to this who are struggling with the mental health. They want to improve it, but they don't know how. And it's really, really simple. For me, you focus on all the positives in your life rather than the negatives. And there's always positives. It doesn't matter where you are, what your background is, what you're doing. There's always positives to focus on. It's about drinking plenty of water, staying hydrated, staying off the alcohol, eating good whole foods, and just believing in yourself. For me, like, I could tell by talking to you, you've got a lot of belief in yourself. And there's a lot of some people, especially like in addiction, people turn to God and Jesus and different religions to have that belief, to believe in something, to give them that energy, that power. For me, everybody should just look in the mirror and believe in themselves, because tomorrow will be a better day. You've just got to focus on it and focus on yourself.
Yeah. But actually, and I'll tell you now, right? And by the way, anyone's looking in at this, my name is James Gorry. I live in Monasterevin, County Kildare, Southern Ireland, and I'm a health and safety keynote speaker. So going forward into 26 and further, should you require a health and safety keynote speaker for your next event, just reach out. I'm here. I'm always available. So thank you.
My name's Steve Kirby from SKLifeCoachUK. I'm a better speaker than Jimmy, so just give me a shout.
No. You're a novice compared to me, right? You're playing catch up now, Steve. Okay, you're trotting me, but you're physically running after me, where I'm pushing the wheelchair ahead of you. So I'll be faster than you. I don't care how much you train. But on that, we lost our eldest daughter to the 11th of February 23, and I spoke to Steve about this earlier on, but next Sunday, she had her ashes, that's where her wish, to disperse her ashes in Inch Beach in Kerry. It's down south. It's 3 hours away. And we're going down there on next Sunday, my wife and myself and her husband. And we're going down and we're going to park up. They're going to sit in two benches or two chairs, or big chairs, just outside the sea. And they're going to throw a bunch of flowers in, because Sharon died and she just wanted to travel the world. That was her wish, right? And she spoke to me just before she died. And she actually, talking about mental health, do you know what she actually done? She prepared herself to die. How do you prepare yourself to die? And she said that to me. I couldn't believe it. And I said, Sharon, how do you mean you prepared yourself? Daddy, I'm going to die with cancer, but not with the pain of cancer. And she pulled up a cloak and she had a morphine pump on her. This is what's keeping me alive. And when you go to speak, you make sure you deliver your message. You keep doing your thing. Because if you don't, I'll come back and I'll haunt you, she said. Right? And I thought, my God, I said, how do you mean you prepared yourself to die? Well, I know I'm going to die. So I have faith, hope, and belief that there's something or someone out there. Right? And you tell your audience, and I'm telling everyone out there looking in at, listening to us speaking, right? You live every day. You only die once. And she said, be happy, be healthy, be safe, and just keep a positive mindset. And if you're not in a good place, reach out. There is help out there. There's no shame in it. I think that is the biggest problem, or was the biggest problem with men, Steve, you think?
Yeah, I think, what you've gone through, like, we've all got a story. Everyone listening to this has got a story, and we all go through chapters. It's something I talk about on my talk, and we all go through chapters, and some of us will go through some pretty dark chapters. Now, having this conversation with you, I can already mention maybe 5 or 6 really dark chapters that you've gone through. Some people might not come across any of them in their lives, and that's what your resilience and your positive mindset, having gone through what you've gone through, especially losing a daughter at a young age. You know what I mean? It's, yeah, I take my
She was
hat
only
off to you.
49. She was only 49.
Yeah, but again, and our words saying like be healthy, be strong, belief, all that message is what we're trying to get across to everyone listening to this. Not just for Movember or Men's Health Month, but all the time. I mean, every single day should be a blessing. We should wake up in the morning and be thankful that we've got another day in front of us, because tomorrow is not promised for any of us, is it? And no one knows what tomorrow is going to bring. So whatever your troubles are today, reach out, as your daughter said, reach out, speak to somebody and ask for help. I know as a guy, admitting that we're not coping it feels like a weakness. It feels like I mean, it's not something we're kind of taught to do.
Yeah.
But for me, I know is again something I talk about a lot is manning up, and manning up prior before my accident was just get on with it, just deal with it. Manning up for me now is admitting that I'm not coping. If I can admit that I'm not coping and I can admit that I'm struggling and I reach out for help, that's manning up. That changes. I get a different perspective of life once I've spoke to somebody.
Yeah. And you know something, like Sharon, and she said to me always, and I said, Sharon, how did you deal with this? Which I knew for a year I was going to die. So I processed it, right? And her and her husband traveled all over Ireland, and they go up to Belfast to get a bag of chips and to go down to Cork and get an ice cream. She loved traveling. And that's why she said, I'm going to be cremated, right? And then you're going to go down to Kerry and you're going to Scott because I want to travel the world, right? And she said to Stephen, you love this one, right? She said to me, right there, you keep doing your thing. You promised me that. And by the way, you're not getting the gig at my funeral. I said, what do you mean? You are not speaking at my funeral. You're too polished. So let the others do it. Let one of the kids all, her brother and her sisters all done it, right? And she said, I want you to promise me one thing. No crying. I've cried out. We can't cry out. There's not enough water out there for the amount of crying out. But she said, if you're not in a good place, and I recommend this to everyone, right? Do you feel sorry? You know, do you have regrets about yourself, or maybe you've done something wrong or whatever? We all do it. We're human beings. And we do stupid exceptionally well. And you want the stupidest person, here he is, sitting in this wheelchair. That's why I'm in this wheelchair. But she said, right, just make sure everyone, if they're not in a good place, this is to everyone leaving, don't just knock at the door where there's help, go in the door. There's no point in knocking, just go in, right? And, you know, it's amazing. She was an amazing girl. She accepted the fact that she was going to die, right? Yeah. And, you know, I think about that, and that's what keeps us strong, thinking about her, right? But she left at home, her husband, her 3 kids and her 3 grandkids, and obviously myself and her mom and all that. Do we cry? Yes. And anyone out there, if you're not in a good place, just have a cry. I've cried a river occasionally. Actually, I cried this morning before I got up, right? And I just said, right, that's the out there. Because if you cry, you're releasing something. So I would encourage everyone, if you're not in a good place, just have a cry and knock on the door. It's not good enough. Go in the door. Help is out there.
100%. And I'm the same. Like, I cry at anything and everything. And the wife laughs at me. Like, we'll be watching a series, and to where she might not get what's just happened, but for me, I just get the emotion in everything. And then that is it. Even when I'm working and I'm presenting my story, there's times during it where I'll fill up and I'll get emotional, and I'll look into the audience and there'll be people crying, and then I see them crying, so it makes me even more emotional. But for me, having a good cry is a good thing. I
agree with you 100%.
And it's a master.
And there's the thing, you spoke, like, your wife obviously supports you, and that's another thing, right? My wife and family have massive support. They encourage me to do what I'm doing, right? But my wife, when I used to do the presentations at the start, I wouldn't be dressed up that well, or I wouldn't be, you know, maybe. And my wife said to me, right, Jimmy, you're going to have to get good clothes, good tops, yeah, shave, tidy yourself up, right? Because she said, in your audience, it could be 400, 200 or whatever. So if there's 200 people, that means there's 400 eyes on you, but you're looking at them, but all of them are looking at you. So you don't want to look like a poor fucker coming out of a nursing home, dribbling out of the mouth in a tracksuit and a pair of runners, right? So smarten yourself up, right? Because you are the focal point. And there's no point in you doing it if you're not going to do it professionally. So I said, right, Anne, that's it. So remember, lads out there, the wife is always right. That's it. End of
The wife is always right, and happy wife, happy life.
happy.
So, yeah. So yeah, for me, I think we can bring it to a close.
Yeah.
Again, you're an inspiration. Love what you've gone through to have that mindset you've got. I wish I could put that mindset into each and every one of my clients.
Yeah. And I think you actually, I think I'm similar to you, really. You just, what we've learned to do, both of us, is we've learned to accept our disability. And our purpose and our reason for getting out of bed in the morning is to make sure no one remotely comes near where we are. Would you agree?
Yeah. And that's why I now do what I do. That's the reason I set up SKLifeCoachUK. It's not, if I can prevent one person going into that place I went to, then I'm doing a good thing. And yeah, I now love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do, same as you are. And like I said, we speak regularly. And I know how passionate you are, and I know how relevant and how good your message is. And yeah, just keep on. Yeah, you're still a young man, aren't you? So
I'm 73 years of age and counting, right?
Plenty of years ahead of you to just keep on sharing that message.
And I am now 7,339 days today and counting, sitting in a wheelchair or a bed 24/7. Why? Because I made the wrong choices when it comes to my health and safety and well-being in the workplace. And you have to make the right choice in that situation and also in your mental health. And that's really what this is about. If you're not in a good place, everyone, male or female, whatever. Actually, I think women are better at dealing with mental health than lads. I have a house full of them here, so that's how I know that. Right? But I would recommend, look at lads, especially lads, there is an out if you're not in a good place. The world is out there. It's your oyster, right? Yeah. So just knock on the door, go in if you want to speak to someone, whatever, or give myself a shout or give Steve a shout or whatever. We're always available. Am I right, Steve?
100%. And you're right. And for anybody who is watching or you've been listening and you are struggling, it doesn't matter what it is, how big, how small you feel it is. I get a lot of people say to me, oh, I'm going through some mental health issues, nowhere near what you went through. It's like, you can't compare trauma. We're all different. Yeah. So no matter what it is that you're going through, no matter what it is that is creating a dark day for you, then just know support is out there. If you are looking for support, then please look at the links and contact details in the episode notes. They'll all be there for you. Again, you can reach out to myself or Jimmy. And yeah, happy Movember. And
that's right.
Happy Movember. And yeah, reach out. That is the final message.
And my final message is I'd like to thank everyone for looking in, right? Listening. And remember this, lads and girls out there. You have 2 ears, you have 1 mouth. You listen twice, process the information, and then you speak. And that applies to your mental health. Don't second guess yourself. If you are genuinely not in a good place, you will be the first one to know, right? Have self-worth, self-pride, and self-belief in yourself. And remember, either myself or Steve are out there if you'd like to speak to us. And there's other services out there, I'm sure. There are loads of them. Just go and seek. It is out there and you will receive it. Thank you. And Steve, it's been a pleasure speaking to you again.
No, wise words to me. And thank you all for listening. Tune into the next episode. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. And just life is for living. Give it a go. Be happy, be healthy, and be safe. Positive mindset, no problem.
Built for Us podcast. Go and subscribe.
Thanks for viewing this episode. We really appreciate your support. Remember, follow us, subscribe, share with a mate, join us live. Built for us. Let's build something stronger together.